Picture yourself working a hard labor job. This job requires constant pounding on the body. It leaves you mentally and physically fatigued. It leaves you little to no time for school. And the worst of it all, you receive no pay. That is the life of a college athlete. As a student athlete, I can attest to the NCAA's practices. Furthermore, it not only pertains to the student athletes, but it pertains to the student body as a whole. The money that is generated from the student athletes is what keeps your campus in tip-top shape. As I continue to put the finishing touches on this picture, I hope to illustrate to you the services and duties of a college athlete and the lack of pay that they receive. College athletes perform services just like any other employee for any other business. They have a set schedule which is given to them by their coach for when they practice, when they have meetings, so on and so forth. Remind you, these duties must be performed at a very high level. Student athletes are under contract that they must fulfill these duties or they can be terminated. These contracts come with minimal benefits, but the biggest benefit of it all is the scholarship. Depending on how much your scholarship is worth, determines what you receive as far as room and board, tuition fees, meal plans. Now that I've informed you on the services of student athletes, let's look into what they receive as a pay. Well, it turns out that they don't get paid anything by this multi-million-dollar business. You might be asking why. Well, it's just by the title that they must embrace as being a student athlete, which is amateurism and a student athlete. The term student athlete, it creates a perception of student first. Anything after is extracurricular activities. The NCAA claims that student first, anything after. The NCAA claims that the student is first, and anything after, it leaves them no obligation to get paid for what they do as far as their services. But how serious are they about student first? Most universities enroll their student athletes in remedial classes just to keep the grades up and just to keep the GPA above par. Amateurism is another title that is given to athletes, and it's another reason just to continue to keep the hands out of the NCAA's pockets and keep money away from the student athletes for all the services that they do provide. They say that amateurism is unskilled or an unexperienced person, but I can attest that student athletes train at a very high level. There is nothing unskilled or unexperienced about what they do. Yet the NCAA is paid for their performances, it's paid for advertising these student athletes, it's paid for their identity itself. The NCAA uses the identity of these student athletes, and these student athletes themselves receive nothing for it. As I've given you this info, you can conclude that there is more behind the scenes of the NCAA than what they portray. Maybe just one day, I hope that it will all change and that student athletes get what they deserve for what they do.